You bought it to help them. You filled it with clean water. You placed it somewhere visible. You feel good every time you look out the window and see birds splashing in it. But here is what nobody told you when you set it up. That bird bath, the one sitting in your yard right now, may be doing the exact opposite of what you intended. The design mistakes most people make turn what should be a sanctuary into something far more dangerous. And the birds that are using it anyway, they are taking a risk every single time they step into the water that most people who watch them have no idea they're witnessing. Because bathing is not what it looks like from your kitchen window. It is not peaceful. It is not casual. It is the most dangerous 60 seconds of a bird's entire day. And the way your bird bath is built, placed, and maintained determines whether that 60 seconds ends safely or doesn't end at all. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to fix, and the birds in your yard will know the difference within days. Welcome to Bird Mind Theory. To understand why bird bath design matters so much, you first have to understand what bathing actually is for a bird, because it has almost nothing to do with cleanliness. A bird's feather is one of the most precisely engineered structures in nature. Each feather has a central shaft with hundreds of branches called barbs, and those barbs connect through microscopic hooks called barbules, locking together like a zipper to create a seamless, aerodynamic, heat-trapping surface. That zipper breaks down constantly. Every time a bird squeezes through dense shrubs, pushes through a crowded feeder, or tucks into a roosting cavity overnight, the microscopic hooks come apart, and a bird with broken feather zippers cannot fly efficiently, cannot retain heat, and in winter, cannot survive the night. A small songbird runs on roughly 12 to 14 hours of stored fat overnight. If its feathers aren't insulating properly, if the zippers aren't locked, that fat reserve runs out before morning. The bird doesn't make it. Water softens the barbel hooks just enough to make them flexible again. When the bird preens after bathing, it runs its bill along each feather, relocking the zippers back into place. The bath is not cleaning the bird. It is resetting life-critical equipment. But the moment a bird steps into the water, everything changes. Saturated feathers add dead weight. Takeoff speed drops. Flight precision drops. The ability to dodge a predator drops by more than half. In a desperate struggle in deep water, excessive water pressure forces past the protective oil barrier, completely waterlogging the feathers underneath. For 60 to 90 seconds, that bird is the most vulnerable it will be all day. And the way your bird bath is designed determines whether it survives those 90 seconds or becomes a very easy meal. Most commercially sold bird baths are designed to look beautiful to humans. They are not designed with what a bird actually needs in mind. And the gap between those two things is where most of the damage happens. Mistake 1. Too deep. Research shows drowning risks drop by 90% when water is maintained between 1 and 2 inches deep compared to deeper basins. The moment water exceeds 2 inches at the center, smaller birds, sparrows, finches, chickadees, can no longer touch the bottom. If they lose footing, they cannot get out. Panic sets in. The feathers waterlog. The bird exhausts itself. In warm weather, this means a drowned bird. In cold weather, it can mean hypothermia in minutes, even after the bird escapes. During fledgling season, spring through early summer, this becomes even more critical. Baby birds are clumsy. Their flight feathers aren't fully developed. Their coordination is poor. A fledgling that hops into a bath that's 2 inches too deep and can't grip the sides will not make it back out on its own. Mistake 2. Too slippery. Glass and glazed ceramics act like a slippery bathtub. A panicked bird with wet, heavy feathers can easily slip and drown. A bird needs to grip with its talons. It needs traction to push off if something startles it. Smooth glazed ceramic or shiny plastic removes that completely. A bird that loses footing in the middle of its most vulnerable moment doesn't get a second chance. Mistake 3. Too high a rim. If the rim of your bird bath is thick or elevated, it blocks sight lines. A bathing bird lifts its head every few seconds to scan for threats, because a Cooper's hawk can close a hunting distance in under 2 seconds. If the rim blocks what the bird can see, it cannot perform that scan. And a bird that cannot perform that scan will not use a bath it doesn't trust, or will use it anyway and pay the price. You can build a perfect bird bath and still make it dangerous through placement alone. Dead center of an open lawn seems logical, good visibility, no obstruction. But for a wet bird that has just had its flight capacity cut in half, crossing 30 feet of open exposed ground to reach cover is not a minor inconvenience. It is a fatal distance. A hawk, a cat, a fox, any of them can cover that ground faster than a waterlogged bird can reach safety. but placing the bath directly inside or immediately against a dense shrub creates the opposite problem. Cover that is too close gives predators, especially cats, the perfect concealment for an ambush. The bird lands, starts bathing, and the threat is already within striking distance before the bird ever sees it coming. Research published in ornithological literature found that yards with water features within 6 to 10 feet of thickets had 40% higher bird visitation rates than those in open lawns. That is the zone. 6 to 10 feet from dense cover, close enough that a wet bird can reach safety in one short flight, far enough that a predator cannot launch from cover and arrive before the bird reacts. And then there is the window problem. Place a bird bath between 5 and 15 feet from a large window, and you have created a collision corridor. A startled bird launches at maximum speed toward what looks like open sky, the glass reflection, and hits a solid barrier it has no neurological category for. Either place your setup within 3 feet of the glass, so a bird that hits it hasn't built up fatal momentum, or more than 30 feet away, well outside the zone of confusion. Even a perfectly designed, perfectly placed bird bath becomes dangerous if the water isn't maintained. And the danger is invisible, which is why most people never connect it to what they're seeing. Stagnant water degrades rapidly. Bacteria, including salmonella, establish themselves within days. Algal blooms follow, and birds that drink or bathe in contaminated water carry those pathogens back to feeders, to nest sites, to other birds. The 2021 pine siskin salmonella outbreak that killed thousands of birds across the western United States spread almost entirely through contaminated backyard feeders and baths during a winter eruption event. Moving water changes everything. A solar-powered fountain insert, inexpensive, requiring no wiring, keeps the water surface in constant motion. Moving water prevents mosquito larvae from establishing, slows bacterial growth dramatically, and does something else that most people don't expect. The sound and light reflections of moving water attract birds from distances far beyond what a still basin can achieve. Migrating birds passing through your area detect it. Birds that have never visited your yard before find it. A still basin attracts the birds already in your yard. A moving basin attracts birds you have never seen before. Clean the basin every 2 weeks with a diluted bleach solution. Scrub, rinse completely, air dry before refilling. If you see a visibly sick bird at your bath, empty and clean the basin immediately and leave it dry for 2 weeks. The risk of transmission through shared water is not theoretical. It is documented and it is significant. Summer bird bath mistakes are costly. Winter bird bath mistakes can be fatal at a population level. When temperatures drop below freezing, natural water sources lock up. Puddles freeze, ponds freeze, streams freeze. For birds that overwinter in northern climates, finding liquid water to drink, not even to bathe, just to drink, becomes one of the most urgent daily challenges they face. A bird that cannot find liquid water is forced to eat snow to stay hydrated, which burns fat reserves it cannot afford to lose overnight. A heated bird bath or a thermostatically controlled de-icer element is not a luxury in winter. It is one of the most meaningful things a backyard can offer during the hardest months of the year. The concern most people raise, that a bird will bathe in freezing weather and freeze to death, is largely unfounded. Wild birds are precise about this. In cold conditions, they use heated water primarily for drinking. When they do bathe, they manage it carefully, wetting only what needs resetting while protecting the insulating down layer underneath. They have been navigating this for thousands of generations. They know how to use the resource safely. What they cannot do is manufacture liquid water that doesn't exist. A heated bath in January, in a yard that has one, is the most visited spot in the entire neighborhood. Here is what the bird bath in your yard is actually capable of being. Not a decoration, not a photo opportunity, a genuine sanctuary, a place where the most dangerous 60 seconds of a bird's day becomes survivable, where winter dehydration stops being a crisis, where birds that were never in your yard before find their way to you through the sound of moving water from a quarter-mile away. The fixes are not complicated. Lower the depth to 2 inches or less. Add river stones to create gradual slopes. Choose textured concrete or stone over glazed ceramic. Place the bath 6 to 10 feet from cover, not in the open, not against the shrubs. Keep the water moving. Clean the basin every 2 weeks. Add a de-icer before the first freeze. Each one of these changes is small. The cumulative effect is not small. Birds with access to well-designed water sources show measurably higher survival rate, better feather condition, and greater territory stability than birds without them. The difference between a bird bath that helps and one that harms is not expensive. It is just information. You now have the information. The birds outside your window will tell you within days whether you used it. If this changed how you see the bird bath in your yard, subscribe right now, because every single week on this channel, we go this deep into what birds actually need to survive. Tell me in the comments, what kind of bird bath are you running right now, and which of these mistakes were you making without knowing it? I read every single comment, and share this with someone who has a bird bath, because this is the video that could save the birds visiting their yard this winter.